Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are listening to this LinkedIn Live. My name is Naishadh Gandani, and I'm the founder of LinkedIn, not LinkedIn Live, I'm the founder of Your Career Down Under. I'm coming to you from India, where I've been locked down for 2 more weeks. And as part of to help job seekers, sail through this very difficult and trying and unprecedented times. Me and Caroline will be bringing career care package to you every day 3 p.m. Melbourne time, which would be around 9:30 a.m. in Indian time. And the idea behind these LinkedIn lives and the care package is to provide you the support, the guidance, the insight, the inspirations needed in these trying and unprecedented times. So we'll be talking to different experts on different topics that will affect job seekers. So welcome to today's LinkedIn Live. Caroline, why don't you give people an idea?
Yes, great. Thanks again for connecting me into the chat. I'm really enjoying doing this. And one of the reasons that Naishad and I wanted to call this a care package, it's kind of like the package that you get when, things are difficult and you show somebody that you care. So we're going to be talking about all sorts of different topics related to managing your career, finding a job, managing your mental health, and anything related to the recruitment industry and job search industry. And today we've got Bimba Chavan. Bimba is a counsellor and has a lot of experience in that area, working with younger people. So we really wanted to have a chat to you, Bimba, to get an idea about what people might be experiencing and some idea on how to manage that, plus a few other things as well. So do you want to tell people, well, first of all, thank you for joining us. And do you want to give people a bit of a background about where, your professional background, so they know where you're coming from, what we're going
Sure.
to talk about?
Yeah, grateful to both of you having me here. It's a great opportunity just to reconnect with people in these times when things look very uncertain. I've been practicing counseling since the past 7 or 8 years. I moved to Melbourne last June. Before that, I was living in Mumbai, India, practicing counseling with adolescents, young adults in the school settings. So yeah, I'm here to share my piece of the story, and also just have a conversation on how do we navigate, this pathway, which we all know where the pathway is for 2020, but we would just like to know how do we, uh, with the current situation.
What are you seeing with people, with both the students and I guess parents as well, around,
Yeah.
what's coming up for them basically?
Sure. So I think there's like a whole wide spectrum of emotions that's felt on a day-to-day basis. So we feel anxiety, which is such a common word right now in response to the uncertainty of what's going to happen tomorrow. We feel sadness connected to losing our daily sources of meaning and joy, our workplace, our school, our spaces that we are allowed to go to earlier, but now it's not there. And there's some amount of anger as well because we have someone or the situation to blame. So yeah, all of these emotions. And what I particularly notice is this isn't happening in a linear level, like first this, then this. It's all at the same time.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it's I mean, we've touched on it before, but it's not just us now, it's the world, and then it's us, and then it's our interaction that, sometimes if one person's angry within a family unit, for example, the rest of the family are not. So there's that kind of buffer and support, but everybody's feeling some of that. I know for myself, today, and, Nation's got his story as well, but today I just felt like this horrible feeling of dread around what's going to happen to my family, parents. My brother's got a medical condition, he's got a young, like it went from here and it quickly went out there in terms of, disaster. And, so yeah, that's kind of my experience. What from your end, Naishadh? What's going on in you, for you in India, basically?
Yeah, so before we started to our journey to India, we knew that there, or not that we exactly knew, but we had an idea that we might face some challenges if we want to travel back to Australia because the situation was just unfolding at that time. And on last Tuesday, the Prime Minister of India declared 3 weeks of complete lockdown of India. What it meant is that we were originally planning to move, travel on 7th of April, but we can't travel until 14th, and our flights have been cancelled. And now we'll have to we will only find out later in the week whether when are we going to get the flights. Now that all this is still very uncertain. I'm not sure whether the airlines will also have the answers for the questions that we have. And then there's 2 more weeks of isolations once we land in Australia. So, I started from being feeling absolutely great about traveling to going to confusion, anxiety, fear. But but I should also mention that whenever I feel that I'm equally grateful that I'm at least with the family.
Yeah,
But still the other emotions do take me out just in the morning itself. So I started with that I'm going to have a great chat and everything else, and once I started to read something, and it immediately the anxiety and the fear kicked in, and then I have to remind myself. As of now, I feel absolutely great talking to you at 3:07 p.m. But I don't know how I will feel at 3:08 p.m.
yeah,
But my point is that it is an absolute emotional roller coaster. I can see how my kids are pretty resilient. They've got internet to keep them engaged. They play cricket and things like that. But I can still see my elder one sometimes get a little bit edgy because he can't
yeah.
go out to what we planned to do. But in the end, I'm very grateful that I'm at a place where I can call this home and do that. But not many people are like that.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? What Naishadh mentioned the word resilience, which gets thrown around, I think, and people, I think, mistake resilience for being, strong. Well, not
Yeah.
strong, but presenting a strong demeanour, and being in charge. But I know it means something different. Bimba, what does it mean from a, counsellors use the word resilience a lot, and I'm wondering what it actually does mean. Like, what's an example of somebody being resilient?
Sure. So I think resilience would be looking like how sooner do you get up once you're fallen down, once you have a fall?
Yeah.
What are the protective measures? What are the proactive coping techniques that you are doing by yourself to just get up? And resilience can have a different zone altogether. And we in school, in my conversations with young people, have a resilience zone wherein a resilience is something. If there's a trigger, say there's a trigger of the teacher is going to ask me something, I'm going to react in a particular way, which may or may not be healthy. Resilience is understanding how do we adapt to the current scenario, given the strengths that we have. And as humans, we all are resilient creatures based on our lived experiences. So we just have to remind ourselves. And I think just like the conversation's going right now, if we can name the emotion, we can feel it, then we know how to manage it.
So it's about really understanding what it is that you're experiencing. So
Yeah.
if you're experiencing anxiety, which I describe mine as like catastrophe,
Yeah. Yeah.
or if you're experiencing frustration, which is around sort of anger, it's
Yeah.
being able to actually name, I am feeling
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about from it is one thing, I think, to name it, right? You can say
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
then it's like, how do you how do you go, like, how do you control it? And should you
Yeah.
try and suppress it? Like,
Sure. I
I'm
think,
not
yeah,
sure.
so
Yeah.
definitely. So taking notice is one thing. I become really, you know, really irritated if I'm not able to have food on time. Say that's showing me something. Uh, some emotions are also felt in our thoughts and our bodily sensations as well. That you feel certain amount of discomfort, or feel certain amount of you're not feeling really right, that kind of a thing. So definitely one part is to take notice. But I think currently, given the situation, practicing the element of mindfulness, which is actually not judging yourself for feeling it. You know, you're not going to be judgmental towards your own feelings and thoughts that I'm not able to do anything, or is this what I'm doing enough, or when am I going to get a clear answer from the job application that I sent. So I'm judging that I'm not enough, so self doubt may walk in very easily. And then there'll be a spiral of other thoughts that keep on going. So I think it's just to name the feeling and say that, okay, I'm feeling it, and let's see how can I let's see how to manage it.
So it's okay. It's okay to feel it. Just
Yeah,
feel it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Is there anything like, is there sort of a hierarchy of things that work for people in terms of managing that productively, or is it different things for work for different people?
Yeah, so certainly there needs to be a tailor-made approach for what works best for me may not be the same as the things that work for you. But I think given the constraints of what we all are facing right now in different parts of the world, uh, we are blessed to have the internet, so there is a social connection that is happening. And I would go back to the fact that organizing your daily routine in a way that there is some amount of time that you're giving to your professional identity, but there's also a personal life that you need to kind of explore as well. So maybe this is the time to pick up a new hobby, or learn a new course available online, or just initiate some self project to have a sense of that yesterday I did this bit, tomorrow I'm going to continue doing this. So little by little on a daily basis would go a long way.
Oh, did you want to say something, Nash?
Yeah, so I wanted to sort of pick up on one particular thing that we started these LinkedIn lives last week about uncertainty, and I think uncertainty is the kind of heaviest feeling that I experience and many people are experiencing. Is this what tomorrow brings is not I don't know, but not knowing is killing me. Not knowing is not because I've always been in control of, oh, tomorrow 9 o'clock this is what I'll be doing, tomorrow 10 o'clock this is what I'll be doing. And suddenly at least in the context of India and probably many other places where the government decided that that's it, you're not going to do that, and you take it's like the feeling of
Yeah,
powerlessness, and the feeling of that somebody took away my meaning from my work, or took away the power from me, and I'm constrained, I'm physically constrained. That's number one. But there has also got that on emotionally, what can I do, how do I so there are, how do people really sort of engage with that feeling of uncertainty and powerlessness?
yeah. So I think anxiety has been a common response to any uncertain events that we have faced until now. It's not that anxiety is a feeling is coming today. Events such as giving an important exam or a job interview or moving to a new city, or even smaller events has created that amount of anxiety. And it's naturally, like we've heard in many of the contexts, that there is either a fight or flight response, that I need to do something about it. Either I
Oh,
fight it out or I freeze. So I think, given the amount of social media information that's traveling all around the world in seconds, like on a press of a button, I get to know what's happening in different parts of the world and in my own suburb. Anxiety or uncertainty, clearly, Neshar, is pervasive. It's impacting my decision making. But at the same time, if we were to kind of draw a circle in terms of what I can control right now, yes, I know that these are the things that are out of my control, but what is in my control? And just kind of, even if they're tiny little things, if you iterate them down, I think it would feel a lot more, the sense of helplessness that you mentioned, that may be
Yeah.
reduced, you know? And yeah, so I think in terms of just like we started in the beginning, maybe just naming our emotions is one. Next is what can I do today or what can I do tomorrow? So, I understand that your Google Calendar might be empty right now. All those, appointments or, connections that you had decided to build suddenly feels like there's like a pause for it. So maybe take benefit of this pause and just highlight your key areas of work that is needed.
It's been interesting, I think. Like I've said to Nation, I think we might have touched on it last time as well. It's that connection too is really important. So
Yeah.
the LinkedIn Live for me, and I assume you, Naishadh, and hopefully for people that are watching it, is to go, well, you're not alone in what you're experiencing. It's a very normal thing. And where, sometimes you pick up on the energy and optimism of other people as well. So just as much as probably, it is important to stay informed about how to keep yourself and your loved ones safe. It's also important to kind of reach out for some good news and,
Yeah.
and really, I think, limit the bad news to the facts that sort of are out of your control. So that kind of like what's in your circle of control, I've found just, the connecting with people this way, and also with, people I haven't spoken to for a while, and old clients, and all of those sorts of things I find really, very reassuring, basically. So, and I guess, just going back to counting what it is that is that we're super lucky to have, particularly
Yeah.
in Australia, is like enough space to social distance, home safe, not stuck at home, changing the language around that. So, yeah, all of those things are, within the realms of what you can actually
Yeah.
control. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What about having a conversation with somebody who is experiencing, the anger, the frustration, like the judgment of other people, and or the anxiety? How do you start? What's a good way to actually start that kind of conversation, and what shouldn't you say to people?
I think there have been a lot more people have been in a room with their own selves, so a lot of thinking process has started. And yes, we as humans love to tell stories, so we really tell our story to our significant others. And I think the first element is just listening, because sometimes when we hear a story, we are tempted to, oh yes, this also happened to me, and then it may take away the light of or the attention that the person wants. So definitely I would be listening with a sense of empathy. uh, that would be a key take for sure. And also, I think the same principle follows, that you're listening without any judgment or giving an opinion on it. It's really more about hearing the perspective and probably sharing then what really worked for me. It may or may not work for you. Positive psychologists have always given this framework wherein they say that we are resourceful. I've been practicing narrative therapy for a while now, which says that people are the experts of their own life. So it's not that we don't know what to do. We just want a social connect to hear someone, or to even hear their stories, so that maybe we go home or we just try out what would work for us.
I think there's a real gift in counselling. I had counselling for a couple of years ago, and I just realised that there's a real gift in somebody just holding that space
Yeah,
and not judging, and just actually just being heard.
yeah,
And I think we don't do that particularly well as a society. And yeah, that kind of, I hear you, I understand you. I'm not going to
yeah,
rush in and fix it. I'm going to let you come up
yeah,
with your own ideas and ways to fix it, because we are a very fix society of, got a problem, we'll sell you something, we'll sell you a pill to fix it.
yeah,
And
yeah. It's a common human tendency to do that.
yeah, yeah. Naish, did you have anything else you wanted to ask?
Yeah, so probably we'll talk about the idea of who's to blame, the problem. I think one of the things that in the notes that we exchanged, you said on the tunes of the problem is problem, or something like that, which I really wanted to elaborate on that,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
who do I really put this shift the responsibility to,
Yeah.
about what I am experiencing. How do people really sort of grapple with that idea of who is at fault here? Who should I blame for this problem?
Right. So I think, I mean, we all have different problems on a daily basis. And I'm seeing currently, even if we are on this global problem situation, we are very easily identifying that, this person is the problem, or there's something wrong with this person. And right now it's been extrapolated to different identities that are there in the world. So I think the statement, it said that the person is not the problem is the problem, which really shifts the blame that I'm not really lazy, I'm not really unproductive, I'm not I'm not anxious all the time. Anxiety is really visiting me, or laziness is visiting me. And this really helps us to kind of identify that the problem is there. Yes, it is, but it may be in the context, in the society, in the community, the way everyone is responding to the current situation, the way there are a lot of messages on different social medias that are, it's like a ripple effect. It's like I send you, you send it to someone, and then there's just a whole lot of information, which is great at one point when we are getting to know more facts, but it's also tiring and exhausting to see all those notifications all throughout the day, and we can't do anything about it.
True.
So it is digital distancing is what I would recommend. Like,
Yeah.
have a digital detox at least 1 or 2 hour of the day where you are with
Mhm.
yourself, and that's the time when you can, uh, be investing in your own hobbies or in your own relationships, or calling that old friend of yours.
Hmm. We have
Uh,
such an addiction to the phone, don't we, and the news and so forth that, yeah, no, that's really interesting. Um, I wanted to ask you about your career in counselling, Bimba, because I think that, post this period, there's going to be a huge demand, or a much bigger demand, for people to support people with mental health just as much as physical health.
yeah.
So, what do you see from your perspective? Because you're at the coalface. Is it that
Yeah.
where do you see the need is, and do you see yeah, you're on the same page as me with that? Do you think that that's going to be, a growing area?
Yeah. So I think having my own, experience of, I would say, I wouldn't call it struggle. It just has been my experience just shifting to a new city like Melbourne in the past 6 to 9 months, and just having the journey of searching for a job. Uh,
Mm.
I think it has been a long journey. So job seeking really has been a new experience for every person in a new city. Um it requires the capacity to adapt to the given scenarios. So maybe 9 months before, what I was trying to get a new job, it may or may not work right now. We relook at our own profile of mental health counselors. So yes, counselors or mental health professionals would be required in this scenario. Having said that, there are current set of norms and regulations for every country for the mental health professionals to abide by. And how do we suddenly, get okay with the criteria, because there is a list of criteria that you need to abide by to, even get yourself a job.
Yep.
uh, so in There are some online telehealth counselor that the Prime Minister has recently, I think just today, it's starting from today, that telehealth facilities will be available for medical and allied medical health professionals. So there are, yes, definitely a lot more opening of job opportunities for online counselors now. I'm
Mm.
yet to figure out if they are open to migrants, if they are open to people who have lesser experiences. Uh, and that's for me to, I think, find out for myself. uh, yeah.
If I can ask on the job seeking aspect, because this the work that me and Caroline started is sort of pivoted towards more around job seekers, not necessarily people who have lost jobs, but just kind of a general job seekers and professionals. In
Yeah.
terms of as a migrant, so if you put yourself in the shoes migrant or international student or graduate, and now he or she are now in this kind of challenging time, struggling to get the job. What are some of
Mhm.
your practical things that you can say from mental health perspective and from your own lived experience of what are
Mhm.
where they should focus on their energy right now?
Yeah. I think a I wouldn't. I would say do what you're doing since uh, the time that you started for job seeking. It's not that you're going to completely reinvent the wheel. We might have to look for what they say transferable skills or competences that you may have, which may link to any online based job profiles, because I think in the past in the coming months there's going to be a lot more need for that. So maybe this is the time where we can find our purpose, see what skills do we have, what competencies do we have to kind of link ourselves to adaptable jobs that would be coming up soon.
Mhm.
uh, and I'm thinking from my own perspective, I think what really works is, I mean, I've been a person who feels that creativity is my anchor. So I get creative with the way I send emails, with the way I approach people on LinkedIn, or just giving a cold call. Uh, Try a different approach every day, because if you're trying the same thing again and again and it's not working, which means something needs to change.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's my bit. Having said that, I think this is just a best opportunity to reconnect with all the connections that you've had till now, especially in a new city. So just going back to them, probably giving them a call or a message.
What do you think it takes to be a good counsellor? Because I think it's, I've got a few clients that are psychologists and social workers and counsellors, and I listen to what they hear and what they go through, and I'm in total awe, basically. But what do you need to be a good counsellor? What are the sort of what's a personality trait and sort of
Yeah.
basic fundamental skill set that you need?
Yeah. So I think in terms of it would be a really like a jigsaw puzzle of many elements, and I think the thing that comes to my mind right now is firstly a great amount of observation and attentive observation skills among the different patterns and trends in the society with the changing times. That's a ski. That's a skill that I would say. With respect to an internal self of awareness towards self, towards how do I react to different situations. So a great amount of enhanced self awareness. That's a key component, I would say. And in terms of skills, like I mentioned earlier, just having a strength based approach to people, that's something that I follow, that everyone has strength in them. We just have to discover where is it. It may be hidden behind a particular habit. It can be, say, behind the behaviors that may look unhealthy, but there is a core value that each of us holds. So just noticing that. Yeah, those are some of the things. I'm not sure if I've answered fully, but yeah, I would love to explore
No,
more.
definitely. I think it's that's self awareness, but desire to. I mean, desire to help people in that way as well. So an ability to empathise and listen, and but not
Yeah,
take have some boundaries
yeah,
around that as well. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And I think
and
If
in
I
then,
terms
can,
of, sorry, go on.
I wanted to touch on the mindfulness aspect because we started to touch on that, and what practical things that people can do. And I know that there are, there's a big movement around mindfulness. So if you can give people just a gist of what mindfulness is and how they can practice and what are practical, apps and things that people can use to kind of use this time
Yeah.
to learn about that and use that in their day-to-day life.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I think mindfulness has been a practice that I have recently started practicing on myself. So first is that you need to practice on yourself to know if it's, what is it really, and it's a new thing that I discover every day. So essentially, it means that you're mindful at the current moment. Like I'm having my cup of tea right now, and I really feel how warm the cup is, how is the smell going in. I'm touching on all my senses basically. That's being in the moment and accepting that here I am right now. I'm not thinking about that emails that I have to send. I have to cook dinner in the evening. I have to tell something to someone. I'm right now focusing on just having my cup of tea. So this is feels super simple. Is very effortful. I would say it's not difficult. It's very effortful to kind of think about or practice. There have been apps that offer guided meditation techniques which are mindfulness based. There is Smiling Minds, there's Headspace, there's Insight as an app that I use. There are, I think, multiple other sources on YouTube, on other channels where they would, practice the sense of mindfulness. So yeah, I'm not going to like prescribe any of these, but just kind of have an open mind to kind of, just engage in a new practice. Yeah, that's what I would say.
They say with, say, meditation, for example, it's not something to do once a week for 2 hours or go on a
Yeah,
retreat. It's small practice, small habit every day, sort of
yeah,
10 to 15 minutes makes a difference. So, yeah, I use a really nice one called Simply Being, and you can choose the background. So you can have
yeah,
waves or air.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Really lovely. So, yeah, but
yeah.
often I fall asleep. So I know you're not meant to do that.
So
But
I think now they have started like a collaborative one. Like I came across some online listening practices that
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here, you're sitting there, let's do it together. There are online yoga classes that are being held. There are like dancing sessions that happen. So people are getting creative to connect. And yeah, so I think yeah, just probably exploring what's the best thing that suits for you because
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Did you have anything else to ask, Bimba?
No, nothing. But if there is anything else, Bimba, that you want that we haven't covered so far, any tips, anything else that you can leave the audience with, that would be awesome too.
Yeah, yeah. I think, like Caroline mentioned right now, that it's not a prescribed medicine that's given that you need to do this once a week or twice a week. It's just like having a bath. We have a bath daily, I assume. We do certain rituals on a daily basis. Some of them we may or may not notice it, but
Yeah.
include it in your daily rituals. So it's like we try one day and then we just say it's not working.
Hmm.
So it's something that you would like to try on a regular basis to see if it's working. It's just like probably going to a gym. You feel like one day you go, you have your sore parts of the body are just telling you quit. So it's that it's this maybe this is what it feels like. It it would be a lot more effortful, as I said. So probably grab a buddy, grab a partner, grab a friend online, and do it together, so that there is the sense of, I'm not alone in this. And I think it's strength is something, and this is a quote that I've heard somewhere, that we gather strength as we go ahead.
Mm,
It's not like a reserve that's lying there. As we go
mm,
on ahead, each day we may gather new strengths.
yeah. It's like that saying, which I think is true. If you want to start something, if you want to do something, just take one small step and then the next step, because
Yeah,
people wait to be motivated to do something, and if you wait for the motivation, you'll be waiting
yeah,
for a long time. But it's the momentum that
yeah,
keeps you going.
yeah,
And I always, from a habit point of view, go, right, well, I have a habit to clean my teeth twice a day. So why can't I develop other habits? They're just small
yeah,
little
yeah, and yeah,
routine type things. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And start with all the fear, all the doubt, all the hesitation.
Mm.
But yeah, the maybe the goal is just to start.
Yeah. And I think there's so many things that we can do that we don't. I think we can do this much when we can actually do
Yeah.
that much, and the only way to discover what you can't do is to just keep trying. And then you look back and you go, oh my God, I've covered 100 steps of this when
Yeah.
I thought even the first step was the hardest. And to know that, like, I always know just with various things, say within my business, that they're not going to work out straight away. And there's a lot of this that goes on before you
Yeah.
even get to some sort of sweet spot that you find. And, that you can use that analogy for developing a good habit around mindfulness or self-care, as well as, job seeking as well. So it's okay not to do it well, it's okay
Yeah.
to mess it all up, basically.
Yeah, and I think we need to normalize that. Like everyone
Mm,
really believes which is the perfect resume, which is the perfect,
mm,
cover letter. And I've been going through that since a couple of time. But every time I apply to a new position, I would be reworking on it.
mm,
And then I shouldn't have a
Yeah.
regret that, oh, I should have known this earlier.
mm. Yeah,
When you know better, do better.
yeah,
Till the time, yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you for
Excellent. Once
joining us.
again, thank you
Yeah.
very much, Bimba, for joining us, and giving us some insights, and more or less, it's giving us a space to stand,
Yeah.
and make it non-judgmental, for us to feel the way we are feeling, and I'm pretty sure that the audience will find this useful. Anybody wants to reach out to you, they fine if they find you on LinkedIn and ask you any questions
Sure,
on that,
definitely.
Bimba.
Happy to help. Yeah.
Terrific. Yeah, thanks
Excellent,
so much. It's
excellent.
really been wonderful for you to share your insights with us and everybody else. And we will see you around on LinkedIn, and feel free to jump in and connect. And if there's anything that we can do to support you as well, let us know.
Absolutely,
Sure. Thank you so much.
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. And for the listeners and the viewers, we will be back again tomorrow, 3 p.m. Melbourne time, and delivering another career care package to you. Tomorrow, we'll bring another guest and we'll talk about a different topic. So stay tuned to us, to my LinkedIn Live. If you want to see how LinkedIn Live works, you can go to my LinkedIn profile, go to activities, and find out more. And until that time, stay well, stay healthy, and look after yourself. See you later, everyone.
bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.